Hi there, and welcome to the BTEC Law lesson for students interested in studying BTEC Law at college next year. My name is Chris, and I'm one of the BTEC teachers on the course. If at any point you can't have any questions from this, or you complete some of the task sets in this and you'll want to ask them or have the work marked, my email is on the screen in front of you, so feel free to get in contact. Otherwise, without much further ado, let's get into it. So, the first question to really ask is, why should I study law? And the key thing is studying the law course gives you so many skills that are transferable to any situation. You have to analyse and evaluate different legal issues. There's some problem solving. You have to ask questions which can be based on government inquiries or inquiries from a judge or inquiries from a member of the public. In addition to this, a lot of the different legal stuff we study is based on real life situations and scenarios that you might encounter in the real world. Not only is this useful if you want to do law as a career, but it's useful for other careers as well, be it in finance or commerce or journalism or politics or government or business or teaching. All of the skills that you learn are transferable and you've already used them in real life situations, so it's really, really good experience for the future. If you choose to study the course, it's made up of 4 units, and we do 2 units in the first year and 2 units in the second year. 2 of these units are based on an external assessment, and 2 of these units are based on coursework that you do throughout the year. The first unit looks at the structure of the civil system, so the different courts, what types of cases they hear, how the process of the case works and bits like that. The second unit looks at some specific criminal laws, how they go about proving these, what counts as some crimes, what counts as other crimes. In the second year, we take this a bit further and you start applying the law to some more specific scenarios, in Unit 3. And then you start looking at contract law, how contracts are written, what counts as a breach of contract and bits like that in Unit 6. If you're planning to study the course, you need some core basic materials. Things like a folder, a few pens and a notepad. These are really, really key. There is also a textbook for the course. At this moment in time, we're not recommending that you buy the textbook. The best course of action is come along, sign up for the course in September, get a couple of weeks in. If it's the course for you, that's a good time to then start looking at getting the textbook. What we'll do now then is have a look at some of the different, or a topic that we cover in law in BTEC. And one topic we're going to look at is sentencing. So, hopefully, all of you understand in the UK, if you commit a crime, there's going to be a punishment. We don't want people committing crimes, so there's different punishments to fit different crimes. But there's a huge range of punishments out there. So what we'd like you to do in a second is pause the video and spend about 5 minutes thinking of all the different punishments you can think of. Remember, they need to be punishments in the UK, not punishments in other countries. Make a list of these. And then once you've got your list, unpause the video and we'll have a chat on the next slide about some of the different punishments and what they do and when they're used and so on. Okay, so give the video a pause and then unpause when you've got your list. So hopefully you've got your list of punishments, and on the screen in front of you are some of the examples we came up with. And some of them are pretty common and some of them you might not have heard of before. For example, a custodial sentence, or also known as a prison sentence, is one just about everybody's heard of. We take away your freedom, lock you in a cell. It's all very unpleasant. But there are some other ones as well. We have community orders. This could be unpaid work, it could be drug rehabilitation, this could be a curfew and bits like that. And the courts can change which community orders they give to which people and how many of the community orders they give to a person based on the different crimes they've committed. Then we come on to fines. Classic and simple. If you've broken the law, we're going to charge you a fee because you shouldn't have broken the law. Really common one, driving over the speed limit. You're driving down the road, camera flashes, you get a speeding ticket. That's a fine. Another one that's actually surprisingly common is a banning order. This is when you're banned from doing certain activities or being in certain places. These ones are actually really common amongst football fans. If you've got a history of behaving poorly at football matches, you'll be banned from certain grounds, maybe on a Saturday afternoon when there's likely to be more fans there. The last 2 punishments we thought of were discharges and cautions. And these are used more often as warnings to people who have broken the law but don't really need any further punishment. That doesn't mean they're going to go unpunished in the future. If you've already got a discharge or a caution on your record and you get caught doing another crime, that previous action will then be counted against you going forward. It does depend a little bit on the situation, but they're used more as a warning. So this time you don't need a big punishment, but next time, if it happens again, you might need further punishment. I do want to make it clear that this is not an exhaustive list of punishments. There are many others out there, and there's even variations within these. For example, custodial sentences can be anywhere between a few weeks to the rest of your life. So obviously, if you came up with some punishments that we didn't, epic job, really well done. And if you got all of these, congratulations as well. It's a really good list and really good examples in there. But the other thing to then think about is, why do we have all these different punishments? And actually, the government have set down a list of what different punishments are trying to achieve. And these are called the sentencing aims. The first aim is actually a really clear one. It's just the punishment of offenders. And this is exactly the same as what happens to you when you're a kid. You've been bad, you took some cookies from the jar or whatever, so your parents tell you off. You're being told off because you were naughty. Same concept in the criminal world. You've done something bad, so we're going to do a punishment to you. Some of the other aims, though, are a little bit more detailed and have a little bit more thinking behind them. The second aim, the reduction of crime through what's called deterrence. A lot of people have this idea that prison's really nasty. And it is. It's not a nice place to be. And as a result, they're quite scared of going to prison. This might then put them off committing crime. I mean, I'm thinking about this crime. Ooh, I'm not sure I want to go to prison. Maybe I won't do it. Or I like being able to drive a car. I don't want to get so many speeding tickets I lose my license. Maybe I'll follow the speed limits. Another aim of sentencing can be reform and rehabilitation. This does tend to be around things like drug crimes, but it can be other crimes as well. And this is trying to change the individual so that they stop committing crimes in the future. As I said, with drugs, quite a common example. If you're addicted to drugs, maybe we put on a rehabilitation program so you can kick that addiction, and then in the future you won't commit crimes connected to them. The second to last aim is protection of the public. Again, quite a simple one. If someone's got a tendency of violence or a history of violence, we probably don't want them out on the streets. That's probably quite a bad thing. So we're going to put them in prison or somewhere equivalent to prevent them harming people. But it doesn't have to be just violence. Again, it could be driving. If someone's got a history of being a dangerous driver, then maybe we'll ban them from driving, and that's actually protecting people that way. And then last but not least, we've got reparation by offenders. Reparation means paying back. In some cases, this is really explicit, like if you stole the stuff, returning the stuff you nicked. But it can also be paying back society through things like unpaid work and community work. Between the different sentences and the different aims of sentencing, judges and magistrates have a huge range of choice when it comes to sentencing offenders, depending on the crime and the circumstances around those crimes. And what we'd like you to do now is actually have a go at being a judge. We have this table, and following this, there are going to be 3 clips of different crimes taking place. What we would like you to do is watch each clip, and in the first instance, just record down that centre column any crimes you see taking place in the clip. There might be one crime, there might be many more. Once you've watched all the clips and recorded all the crimes, what we'd then like you to do is have a look at that third column, and we want you to decide what sentence or sentences or punishment would you give to the criminals in each clip. There's not necessarily a right or a wrong answer. We're just interested to see what you guys come up with and think is an appropriate sentence. Of course, while I'm playing the clips, you can pause between the clips to take some writing time. So pause the video as it's convenient to you. I will remind you at the end of each clip. So without any further delay, let's have a look at clip number 1. Hopefully it'll work. There we go.
Think I would, Harry.
I demand that you leave at once. You are breaking and entering. Dry up, Dursley, you great prude.
Okay, so if you want to take an opportunity to pause the video there and fill in any crimes that you witnessed during that clip, conveniently, even one of the characters might have given you a hint about one of the crimes there. Once you've done that, unpause and the second clip will play in a second. Okay, and here's clip number 2. Again, write down any crimes you see taking place during this clip. Okay, and then once again, if you write down any crimes you saw, and feel free to pause it again. Once you've completed your table, unpause, and the third clip will be coming through. Okay, and here's clip number.
I used to drag here back in high school. That railroad crossing up there is exactly a quarter mile away from here. On green, I'm going for
Okay, and that's the end of the third clip. Again, write down any crimes you saw, there were quite a lot in that one, and record them in your table. What you then need to do, as I said at the start, is make sure also you are deciding what sentences you're going to give each criminal in each clip. Once you've done that, unpause the video and you'll see the next instruction. Okay, so hopefully now you've watched all 3 clips, you've identified all the crimes, and you've chosen some sentences for each crime. What we'd now like you to do is pick one clip its associated crimes, and the sentences you've decided. And we'd like you to write a short explanation of your chosen sentences, what you decided to give the criminal. By short explanation, we're looking for about 5 lines, but it's the idea is we're interested in why you think the sentences you've chosen are appropriate. Again, feel free to pause the video and unpause it once you've written your explanation. There's just one more task to go. Okay, so hopefully at this point we've had a look at some different sentences and we've looked at justifying them. And maybe we've had to think about some of the more severe sentences. And it brings us to this one, which is, should life mean life? And in the UK, life sentence doesn't necessarily mean for the rest of your life. It can be anywhere between 12 years and a full whole term life sentence. But there's lots of different start points in between. So our question is, should it actually be that absolutely you've got life, you're never coming out? Or should it stay as it is with its different start points? What we'd like you to do is draw a quick table and come up with the yes arguments, i.e. life should mean life and it shouldn't have any other variation, and the no arguments, life definitely shouldn't mean life and there should be the variations. What we'd like you to do, and these don't have to be long points, is come up with 2 to 3 yes arguments and 2 to 3 no arguments. Short bullet points are fine. The last thing we'd like you to do then is actually decide what your opinion is. Do you side with the yes, life should mean life, or the no, it shouldn't? I would like you to write a short paragraph justifying what side of the argument you come down on. Again, we're not looking for tons and tons, 10 to 15 lines tops is plenty, okay? That is now the end of all the tasks for the BTEC Law PowerPoint. If you have any questions arising from that PowerPoint, or you completed the tasks and you'd like us to have a look at them, as I said at the start, my name's Chris and my email is on the screen there. There is also the contact details of my colleague Leanne, who's going to be teaching on the course next year. We hope that you have a good summer and it all pans out as best we can, and we'll look forward to seeing you in September. Thanks for watching.